This is just what I wanted to say really quick. You kept using the word carrying. The guy is, carrying because he has to message you first. He's carrying because he has to ask for your
guys
phone
have
number.
to do everything.
Everything. Oh my gosh,
Men
it's
have
so
to do everything.
Like so taxing. He has to move
Yep.
his thumbs so much.
No. It's more than that. But I'll go ahead.
But that's kind of what you're alluding to. If a guy won't message me first, if a guy wouldn't ask for my number, if a guy wouldn't suggest the first date because it's too hard, it's too taxing, I'm obviously not worth it to him, and he's obviously not worth it to me. And you keep using this word carrying as if it's so much. If he won't message you first, he's not gonna be what makes you think he's gonna be a provider for you?
Well, there's a lot more to it than that. And by the way, men enjoy feeling appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Even a drop of you showing some mutual effort or initiative, most men will find that appealing. There are some very masculine men that no, I have to do fucking everything, and if the girl even initiates a little bit, then whatever. But most men will genuinely appreciate you showing even a modicum of effort. When I say carrying, not to get fucking nerdy, carrying is a video game term. Basically, to carry someone in a video game is you are basically, they're doing jack shit, and you are basically, you're killing all the enemies, and they're just sitting
I've
back.
played team sports. I understand what carrying means.
In the same way that there's group projects.
But I thought men want to lead.
They do, but it's a burden. It's a burden, and also a lot of men want some degree of reciprocity. You would be surprised if you showed the same amount of effort that men put in. A lot of men would really appreciate that, and a lot of women make zero effort. But you say, he's just moving his thumbs. There is men face rejection in ways that women don't. We have to make the initial approach. We're going to kind of carry that initial conversation. We're going to ask for the number. We're going to set the date. We're going to set the time. We're going to follow up. If you flake, by the way, most chicks flake on dates, and they're not going to give you 24 hours notice. You have a date on a Friday night. They're going to flake 3 hours before, and then it's very easy. You've done it, right? It's very easy for women to get another date like that. Most men, most guys, if you flake on them on a Friday, you've just scorched their Friday. They're not gonna find a replacement.
I mean, I've also been canceled on. It's so shitty.
Men don't really flake at the same rate that women do. I'll say that. Women are incredibly flaky. In fact, I didn't bring this up. Yeah. 9 girls flaked tonight. So if I've been a bit of a dickhead tonight, I have not been in a good mood. 9, or maybe it was 8 women were going to be on the show. Obviously, I found some last minute replacements. 8 women canceled. Okay. And imagine that in the dating world. And I've had a lot of experience with that. Women will flake. And I'm not even professional women, 30-year-old women who are professional women will literally, some bullshit excuse will flake an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before the date. Over the dumbest fucking reason. Yeah. Women are fickle and flaky, generally speaking. It happens all the time. I say this from experience. They flake.
So I have a question. There, you get flaked on by this woman. I'd be annoyed. I'd be pissed. Someone, caused me to commit to them for that night, whatever, and then they flaked on me. My initial reaction is okay, that's really shitty. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not going out with this person because they're a flaky person, and I don't want to go out with them anyways. I'm glad that they avoided wasting my time more than they already have.
It's a favor.
It's a favor, kind of.
Perhaps. But what if it could have otherwise worked out? Sometimes the girl just gets cold feet. Yeah. A lot of times girls get kind of cold feet, and so it could have otherwise worked out. And then also it's just it doesn't undo the fact that my Friday night that I could have planned with someone else is just scorched. Women, you guys, any of you could probably download Tinder tonight and fuck a dude tonight. Almost no dudes can pull that off. So to bring it back to carrying though, you mentioned, it's just texting. Every single step along the way, men have to do it. So asking for the date, getting the number, planning the date, showing up to the date, opening car doors, carrying the conversation on the date, paying for the date, trying to move it forward on the first date. If he can move it forward, hey, let's go back to my place. That's a move he has to make. Most girls aren't going to say, yo, let's go back to your place. The guy's going to have to take the initiative there.
Right.
Keep in mind, at each of these incremental steps, that's another opportunity for rejection. So there's always, men have like hundreds of steps along the way from just meeting you to a relationship.
Totally.
Tons of rejection points that really don't exist in women because they don't really make the move like that. So, okay, let's say you go back to his place, then he's going to have to move things forward physically. How's that going to play out? He's definitely going to have to go for the first kiss. Most women don't go for the first kiss. Then he's going to, okay, how's he going to, there's a lot of logistical things that men think about that women don't really do. So
in my experience, I think about it. Like, sure, it's not just that the man is thinking about it. Women are also thinking about it. We're thoughtful creatures. Maybe the man does have to do it, but the point I want to make is
thinking about wanting
you have to take all these steps. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do this. How men value femininity. How feminine would it be if I was, making all these steps and doing let's go back to my place. Like, that wouldn't be so feminine. So what do you want from us? That's the question. I understand. You want, reciprocation and conversation. I'm there. I do that. That's all I can do. But, I want to be more feminine because I understand I can be masculine and I can do that on my own. And I'm trying to work on that. So what do you want?
I think it just is that women don't care how hard men have to work to garner our attention, to garner relationships with us. I think at the end of the day, we just don't care. Are you going to do it or not? Right? And I think that is something that people are just unwilling to admit. And I mean, it's completely okay to say out loud, I don't care how hard he worked for this. It's just, did you complete the mission or not? That's our perspective as women. We can't really empathize with men. And that's why men need to be talking to other men about how to approach relationships with women. What are you really going to learn from a woman about, you know what I mean? We're just we don't even really know. We're just, did it work or did it not? Right? I think that's okay.
So yes, you make a good point. If a girl was perhaps really overt in these ways, we might deem it to be more masculine. And yes, so I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not so much that we're necessarily well, first off, we can't expect women to make the first move because frankly they don't. If every girl that I've ever kissed, I waited for her to make the kiss, to do the first kiss, it would have never happened, and she would have either been like, this guy's a pussy.
Yeah.
Why is he not going for it? She would have lost interest because why is he not making the first move? Or it would have, honestly, she would have finally made the move.
Yeah.
3-4 dates down the line. More likely than not, though, if I didn't make the move, she would have just lost interest, be like, he's just not interested, or he's a coward. She's going to lose attraction. So it's not so much hey, you need to be a mirror image of ourselves, but I'm just trying to articulate men carry. We carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we've got to
just
the conclusion that
and I
we
think
don't
this
care.
is I thought you wanted to, and I thought women should be submissive to be in a healthy relationship that works properly, and I mean that doesn't really need to be answered because I understand life's not perfect and there's good parts to being a man, there's negative parts to being a man, and the same with women, but I think that's a little unfair to say women don't do anything to create a relationship. When we do, we're called forward and masculine and unfeminine. And
I certainly think that there's a way that you can go about it in a feminine way. So, you can make these sort of moves in feminine ways.
Yeah. I mean, it's like feminine assertion. Just a lot of women suck at game. That's why your best bet is to just be pretty polite and sweet, and caring. We're just not that good at it these days because we have to appeal to this small pool of men that we've never really had to compete with before. So, I made the first move with my husband. I kissed him first, but I immediately let him lead. So you're talking about feminine assertion, but that's not a concept most women are going to get. Or even
but I think they
really
should.
pursue.
So let's talk about it. Teach us.
Well, I've been trying to teach you guys all night, and honestly, you guys have just been incredibly rude. In many ways. I'm not from Cali. I'm from the Midwest. I also come from a Latin background. Oh. I've been trying to be helpful, I've prefaced all of this. I'm pregnant with a daughter. I care about women, right? But when I tell you guys things, it's always, well, my experience, or I know somebody like this, or this has been different for me. So, like, you want me to teach you guys, but you're not very receptive.
I understand. The question is just, then why are we on a podcast? I want you to have a master class. I'd listen to it. But if we're here to have a conversation, I'd like to add to the conversation. So
there's adding, and then there's being snarky. There's a big difference.
I think that's also something that you're guilty of as well. Would everyone agree with me here?
Yeah.
That Allie has also been snarky from the get.
Have I been snarky?
I think
I've been a little snarky a couple times.
I said this at the beginning.
So have I. It's a podcast.
I said this at the beginning. Like, there's being disagreeable, and then there's just being rude, right? And it's just, I don't know what it is with, like, this place, California. I have no idea. This is, like, not how people have civilized conversations with one another, right? You will see me get, like, frustrated and a little bit assertive, and it's because, like, I am a woman, and I can tell when you're being rude to me. Brian might not see it. Brian might not get it, but I can, because I'm a girl, okay?
And so can I, and so can all of we.
Yeah.
And that's why I think
But,
there's, like
there's
obviously
been
this-
implications.
I was talking.
Okay.
So you're talking over everybody else, and it feels like a lecture. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm not here to be taught. I understand that you're trying to, like, give your 2 cents, and I'm always open to listen, and I'm open for constructive criticism, but you're here, like, pointing fingers, and it's like, go fuck yourself
Right,
if you're gonna
but
point fingers, you know?
I've just been throwing out, like, numbers and stuff.
I know,
Like that. You
I
guys
just
don't like it.
back to my original statement, we're on a
pod.
podcast. We're here to talk and share our experience and what we have to share. So again, if you had a master class, I would totally listen to that. Now I know who you are. I'm going to subscribe to your YouTube. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But what would you like us to, I don't want to sit here and just shit on women. Oh, no, they don't do this.
I'm
and no,
not-
they don't
I
do that. Like,
No, that was me
there's-
shitting.
I know, but
was
there's
shitting
just
mostly.
there's some hope for the world, and it did not. I said this is the first thing I said to you was it felt condescending. I so respect you, and I think you're super smart. I want to hear you, but it doesn't feel like we're having a conversation. It feels like you're talking at women and about women, and it's like, damn, like I agree, and all I can do is be a better person and act better, and I feel I have. So
Yeah.
I didn't want it to feel like a lecture. I wanted it to be a civil, cordial conversation.
Right.
And I think we're also allowed to talk about our personal experiences. We don't have to be talking about a general topic the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Destin Shin 91 donated $100. Brian, just invite me on the podcast. I would inflict.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
I really quick, I just, if I've been a little, I don't know, I've been a little spicy tonight. So we did have 8 flakes. It was a nightmare coordinating this before the show. So hold on, let me. Hold on.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
No, but yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Allie.
So it's like, here's the thing is I've like made objective points, right? And I say these things and I give you the numbers. Again, happy to give them to you guys after the fact. And I make these broad conclusions about how dating is going for most women and sometimes for most men. But I've mentioned things about IQ, and then you turned around and flipped it and said, should we dumb ourselves down? I didn't say that. That's what I mean. Like, me giving data and statistics, it might be boring, and maybe honestly maybe it's like not particularly fun, but it's not a knock on you guys. These are just things that are. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but a lot of the times when I give women facts, they emotionalize it and personalize it. And I think that that's how we communicate. But I can't get the truth out there to women if I alter it so that they can hear it completely. And I've actually altered my language like quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's really just I think that's really just what's going on is like I would just take what I say at face value. You know, if I wanted to be like mean or a brat, it would be a lot different. Like I'd add homonyms. Like that's what would happen. You know, I'd be calling you names. You see what I'm saying? But if I'm just saying something, it can be jarring. I get that. But can we just look past that at the words that I'm articulating?